Oh my gosh, this woman's message has touched my heart so much. It's opened my mind to an experience that I was not fully aware of. And her heart that she brings to it is so inspiring. I am so excited to introduce to you all the incredibly courageous, deeply wise Michele Nishioka. Let's give a huge round of applause. Michele!
Ciao! Hey, Michele!
Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, Michele.
Oh, Michele.
Got this, Michele. We have got this. You've got this.
Yes, Michele!
Yeah.
You got it, girlfriend. You got it. Go for it.
All right. Okay, let's make sure everybody's muted first. And that Michele, you're unmuted before you talk, okay?
So there I sat at the table, sitting in a seat that I had fought so hard to sit in. Years of education, hard work, over 15 years serving in public education. Many sacrifices made, including time with my family. Wow, I finally arrived. This is it. I'm here. And doesn't it feel good when you have finally reached that final destination? But then something happened. Meeting after meeting, I became paralyzed. Questions were put out there and nothing would come out. I couldn't find my voice. Self-doubt would surround me like a barbed wire fence, and the thorns of what ifs surrounded my brain. What if I make someone upset? What if everyone doesn't agree with me? What if I stand out too much? What if I stand out as something different or seen not as a team player? And by the time I got the courage to speak up, the space would close and close and close until it disappeared. And so I too slowly disappeared. My voice was constricting, like something was binding me, like a barbed wire fence. Have you ever found yourself disappearing at the table, somehow not able to speak your truth and wondering why? My why took me back on a journey that goes way back, further than I could have ever imagined. It is 1942. 150,000 Japanese Americans are put into internment camps. They look like the enemy and they were feared to be the enemy. Even as sons, brothers, fathers, husbands fought for the United States, their families were left behind and were perceived as enemy aliens. Families left behind businesses, education, everything except for what they could put in one single bed sheet. They were forced to move to a small space with paper-thin walls, no ceilings, and one light bulb. No privacy anywhere, not even in the restrooms, where those were shared with 200 people. And they had no voice to say, this is wrong, out of fear. Surrounded by armed military and barbed wire fences because of fear that they were the enemy. And when they were released from the internment camps, they had to blend in as much as possible by not speaking too much, pretend that what happened to them didn't happen, and work hard to prove that they belonged. and they could contribute to society and prove that they were good American citizens. In many ways, the barbed wire fence was still there. Fast forward to its 1972. A 6-year-old girl is sitting in her living room playing with her Barbie dolls. That little girl is me. I looked at my Barbie dolls and I remember thinking, if I would do anything to look like my Barbie doll, blonde hair, blue eyes, brown hair, brown eyes, but not black hair, almond-shaped eyes. I felt so ashamed in terms of my racial identity. And I knew that there was no way I could blend in with my white classmates by my physical appearance. I must somehow make myself blend in another way. And that was to blend in, don't stand out. And just as Japanese Americans learned to do after the internment camps, I learned to take up as little space as possible and to give as much space to others. Later in life, at work, I would elevate others and I wouldn't disagree and make sure that I was seen as a team player and that I didn't stand out too much. And I didn't want to be seen as the enemy. I let the barbed wire fence of past injustices silence my voice. And this is what I call generational silence. What is the barbed wire fence that is keeping you silent? Recently, I had the opportunity to interview my dad about his experience in the internment camp. And I want to share the message that he shared with me. The one thing the government cannot take away from us was our heart, soul, and our culture and our determination. Despite our uncertainty and fears, we still had hope. Wow. This is what I call generational strength. I realized at that moment that instead of being ashamed of my racial identity, I should be darn proud of where I came from. There's a strength in the generations that came before you and before me and before us. We stand on the shoulders of the grit and resilience that our ancestors had. And so what did I do with that generational strength? Now comes a story of a woman who was finally able to stand up for herself and stand in her corner. 1 year ago, I had my dream position as executive director of education at a nonprofit. I'd even written the job description myself. However, months into the position, it became clear that my voice was not going to be heard. And I wasn't really being trusted to lead in the way that I felt called to lead. The director of the organization and I had to have one of those, we need to talk conversations. And she said, it will take 2 years for you to earn this position and to earn my trust. So, what did I do? I dug into my Japanese American generational strength. And I took my heart and my culture, my determination, and I said calmly, that is not going to work for me. It is in the best interest of this organization and in my best interest that I walk away. It was the best, worst moment of my life. Finally, I'd cut that barbed wire fence. For my ancestors, it was not possible for them to break the barbed wire fences of the internment camps. but it was possible for me to cut through the barbed wire fence around me because of their strength and because of their resilience. 14 weeks later, after I walked away from that position, I continued to use my voice. I started my own nonprofit, Bright Futures Cambodia, with one of my friends and colleagues in Cambodia. I've been able to use my voice to advocate for those living in extreme poverty. I've used my voice to make a difference by providing basic health care, jobs through shrimp farming and sewing, and an education to young people so they don't have to risk their lives and be victims of human trafficking. We have impacted the lives of about 200 people so far, and it would not have been possible, and it would not have happened if I remained silent and not spoken for what I truly believe in. If you are disappearing because there's a barbed wire fence constricting you and your voice, I am telling you this: lean into that generational strength. There's no company, there's no organization, there's no group, there is no person that can take away your heart, your soul, your determination, and your culture. Cut that barbed wire fence and release the power of you. Release the power of your voice. You will find such freedom. There's no more disappearing. Take your seat and speak your truth and shine.
Girl, own it. Own it.
Oh my gosh. God bless
Beautiful.
Your season.
Girl owns it. Owns it.
Owns it.
Awesome. Word. Amazing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
Moment to celebrate. Just jump on in. Give it your all. That was amazing.
Michelle, I just wanted to tell you that metaphor of cutting those barbed wire fences, I will never forget that. That landed with such strong resonance of how it can help everyone's soul, because we all have barbed wire fences, but you took it from the literal to the emotional fences. And that was so compelling. I will be telling that part of your story to as many people as I meet for as long as I can. That was amazing. And I would love to hear more of your story.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Michelle. Wow. Wow. What a work of art. What a beautiful, beautiful work of art of the soul. Thank you. I know you have put your heart and your soul into this. I know that it has been a journey that at times has felt difficult and confusing, and the creative process is like that, but you've stayed with it, and what you have created is so touching and beautiful. You just blew open the entire room around the world here. Everybody here, I want you to take it. If you haven't yet, please go in and tell Michelle what you loved about this. I mean, the chat has just been going on. You can feel the energy. So really take in all of those and keep speaking up. Your story matters so much. And I am so excited for you on this path of telling the story and just being who you are. I celebrate you so much for getting to this moment. So beautiful. Let's give her another huge round of applause.
That was amazing.
Absolutely.